Hi, this is Aaron Brooker, field agronomist for Michigan and Northern Indiana, and hopefully you guys are all getting some crops harvested. I know it hasn't been exactly the best month or so with all the rain we've had to try to get crops harvested, but with the good sunny weather we've had the last few days, hopefully some of that is progressing. And with the rainy weather, as hard as harvest has been, it hasn't been easy to get wheat in the ground. And today I wanted to talk about late planting of wheat, if there are some of you that are still considering trying to get that wheat crop in the ground. So first I wanted to talk about planting populations. So we typically recommend around 1.2 million all the way up to 2.2 million seeds per acre, and a lot of that depends on our planting date. So if we're planting earlier in the season, we want to plant that stand thinner, allow those plants to come up and tiller and not get too thick of a stand and risk lodging the following spring. But as we get into later planted situations in October and into early November, we want to increase that population because we just don't have that opportunity to get those 2 to 3 tillers that we usually try to get with our wheat crop. So as we get into the middle of November here, we're definitely going to be edging toward that 2 to 2.2 million population at this point in the season. Next, I want to talk about planting depth. And the biggest thing with planting depth right now is if we do get some good weather, some potentially warmer days, and get a chance for this wheat to come out of the ground, we don't want it to be too far down in the soil that we're not giving it that opportunity to emerge. So if we shallow up that planting just a little bit, somewhere around that 1 inch depth, we may have the opportunity to get some of that wheat emerged and begin some of that tillering process this fall. Now, keep in mind, if we do get too late or if the weather stays cold, some of this wheat, we could plant it in the ground and it may not emerge this year if we stay too cold. So just keep that in mind as well. With that seed being in the ground longer with these colder temperatures, seed treatments are going to be really important, and all of Beck's seed is going to have a seed treatment on it with our seed treatments that we put on. That's going to protect it from disease. That's going to protect it from some insect damage as well. So seed treatments are going to be really critical if we are anticipating that seed sitting in the ground for any amount of time. And then nitrogen. So some recommendations say you can add about 20 pounds of nitrogen this fall in a late planted wheat crop just to try to encourage some of that early growth in tillering. If you don't want to put any nitrogen on this fall, the biggest thing with late planted wheat is since we don't have that time for tillering in the fall, we're probably going to apply all of our nitrogen up front in the spring. So in that green up phase to try to increase our tillering in the spring, because those tillers are what's really going to drive that yield more so than we can get with individual heads providing that yield. So if the more tillers we can get on there, the better off we're going to be. And so with late planted wheat, we're going to drive that nitrogen definitely on that first application. Then the last thing I want to talk about, it's something we run into every spring and early summer when we get out in the fields and we see issues in our wheat stand. At that point in the season, unless it was clearly just a flooding issue, it's actually really hard for any agronomist to determine what happened to that wheat stand. So I actually encourage you, especially those that did get some wheat planted early, if you were able to do that, go out, scout those fields and make sure those are looking in good shape. If you see any issues, actually now is the time, and over the winter as you see issues arise, that's the time to get out in these fields. If we wait too long, we can't always tell what happened, and so as soon as we can get out to that problem, we want to be out there and give ourselves a best chance at determining what happened with that wheat and if there's problems in it. So with that, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me or your local Beck's representative at any time. Thank you.